In this video we're going to find a strange little clearing that somebody else appears to have recently slept in, and then set up our own bivvy and tarp shelter. I set out looking for interesting hidden places that I could set up a very simple campsite, and I didn't anticipate wading through the overgrowth and then finding a recently trodden down path leading to this.
I don't know how old this clearing is. It's maybe a week or so, I guess. I've no idea. Long enough for this to have been flattened, but for the stem to have bent and it to start growing up towards the light again. The little sign of resilience. But this is perfect. It's maybe 3 meters or so by 2 meters, something like that. The only problem here is obviously somebody knows about this place.
As an amusing side note, once I was out of the tall grass, I realised that I had boots filled with seeds. Never one to miss an opportunity to wear my gaiters. I swore that when I returned to this spot to camp, I would make sure I went all out and put them on. I just want to point out here, look how windy it is at the top of the trees around me, and yet here at my level down amongst the shrubbery, it's so sheltered that there's barely a breath of air. Fantastic. Here's a final pre-camp side note. If you were curious about the weight of my backpack, just under 7 kilograms.
Hopefully you can hear the wind rustling through the leaves and branches up above us, but also tell just how sheltered we are down in this little hollow. Fantastic. Whoever was here has had a brilliant night's sleep, I'm willing to bet that.
Having had a closer look at the ground that I would be camping on, I thought it was definitely a good idea to start by using my small poncho tarp as a ground sheet. This then allowed me to unload all of my kit onto it, with far less fear about losing any small trinkets or keys or items, tent pegs and so on, in that weird stems and roots mishmash below me.
So what I'm trying to do here is not conceal myself in any way, shape or form, because where I am is completely out of line of sight, and as you can see we've got this channel to even get to the open part. What I'm doing here is creating a bit of a heads up device, an early warning for everybody.
Basically, I didn't want to risk somebody coming back to what they'd consider their spot, only to walk in the darkness right on top of me.
I really can't believe how well sheltered this area is. This is fantastic. So here's the sleeping area. So we've got sleeping bag, super light tarp S plus the peg bag with it, inflatable pillow, inflatable mattress, and my very simple bivvy bag. And I've also got my head net, which I will be wearing to keep the creepy crawlies out of my nose and ears and everything else. Let's have ourselves some crackers, a little bit of cheese in there, a bit of pesto cheese, fancy, mac and cheese.
I've wanted one of this style of gas stoves for ages, so to finally buy a fire maple and have it live up to expectations was definitely a pleasant surprise. And as much as I do absolutely love my Trangia alcohol stove, in a case like this where I've got very limited space, having something as quick and predictable as the gas burner compared to the rather large and unpredictable long-term flickering flame of boiling water with the Trangia, well, the fire maple wins in this case.
The pesto cheese is just such a strong flavour. Oh, I love it straight away. As soon as, before you've even bit it, you can taste it.
Well, this was unexpected, my friends. We've got a moment where the air is now relatively still. Unfortunately, there's a few very tiny spots of rain coming out of this very broken cloud, so I hope this is not going to be the trend for the evening. With the rain now gently tapping on my head as a warning of things to come, although I didn't realise that of course, I did at least take the hint and start to put my sleeping arrangements together. So I used just my very simple Mountain Warehouse bivvy bag here, and then I've got a cheap air mattress which I keep outside of the bivvy bag. You can see, even as I'm just testing it out, I tend to slip off the air mattress, but I prefer to have some extra space in the bivvy bag itself. I just want to note before I put the tarp shelter up on this camp, if you look at my other videos, I've got loads of tarp tutorials, videos of me camping in proper tarp shelters. However, on this particular occasion, even using my super light tarp S, which is only 2.8 by 1.5 meters, I simply didn't have the space, so I made a very basic lean-to shelter, and even that I couldn't have at the full length. As you can see, I had to double over the end part and then use the just random bits of dead fern as toggles to stop it flapping around. But I'm not going to say this is my proudest shelter I've ever built, but at least it sort of worked.
Okay, my friends, this is not ideal, having rain arriving around 9 till 10 p.m. It's got a lot darker, a lot chillier, and I'm definitely glad that I put all this stuff up when I did. But the weather forecast is saying it should die out over the next hour, so by 11 o'clock at night there should be no sign of anything like this again, although it will likely stay windy and cloudy all night. I'm not worried about that.
So, with a less than ideal tarp setup and an anticipation of a very early morning with the dawn chorus and a very early sunrise, I decided it might be a sensible idea to try and get some sleep now.
I can't believe it, this is proper rain. Incredible. I may have to rethink the shelter if this really is going to be like this. Right then, it's now almost 25 past midnight, so I'll keep this brief. Firstly, you may notice, even though the rain has long since stopped, we have unfortunately collected some water on our ground sheet. That, of course, is because I wasn't really planning and expecting it, so that's why we've got such a simple tarp setup. I'm currently on top of the bivvy bag, and you might notice I've got bare arms here because it was getting quite stuffy inside it, but of course when I go back to sleep properly I will be very much in it, just without my coat on. This is my problem at the moment. The tarp has somewhat sagged, and I think it is this that's been slapping me in the face from time to time and woken me up just now. So I think rather than get annoyed because I obviously haven't got the space to properly guy out and peg out all of the tarp and the poles, I'm just going to take that down now and be brave and hopefully just get to sleep for a lovely night under the clouds.
You can probably imagine just how disruptive to your sleep it is to crawl out of a bivvy bag at 12:30 at night and then start dismantling the shelter around you. Now, normally I would just sort this out, but because of this enclosed space, I knew I didn't have the space to properly guy everything out and get it nice and taut how I'd want it. So I just thought it's better to just break it down, pack it away, and then it's done. It's not going to be sagging again and rubbing against your face and so on throughout the night. In other videos, you might have seen me go from having a tarp lean-to shelter to building an entire forester's tent in the small hours of the morning. But in these particular circumstances, I just thought, let's see if we can get some sleep in the open.
Would you believe me if I said I'd woken up feeling refreshed and revitalised? Dear me, that sums up my last 2 hours pretty much. So I did get some decent sleep in, but I have a horrible feeling the dawn chorus began before 4 a.m. and just with all of the noise of that many birds literally all around you, and then of course how light it is so early, the last 90 minutes, 2 hours or so have been challenging to sleep in, I'll say that much. All in all, though, I did get a decent chunk of sleep before that, and then just being completely uncovered and open to the morning light and everything, not much you can do about it really. But yeah, a fun night, and don't get me wrong, my back and my leg, very sciatic feeling this morning, I'll say that much. But I stayed dry. You can see we've got, I don't know, I assume this is condensation on it. No, I don't know. Perhaps I did get a little wetter than I expected last night. I don't know. Definitely being very humid in the bag as well. I'm feeling damp as well here. I notice as well the camo netting has fallen down. I hope it's only fallen down overnight. But it's not exactly where it was left, so the path is completely open. But on that note, I'm going to get ready and I'm just going to go, my friends. Because yeah, I feel like, I don't know, my face might be telling the story of how tired I am right now. Looking back at this night in the wild, I've got to say that as a whole, the experience was really pleasant. I especially liked the evening before bed, where I was just so sheltered and shielded from the world outside, and especially how quiet it was as I was lying in bed with literally just the sound of the raindrops falling on the tarp around me. Absolutely lovely stuff. I will wrap this video up and say a few things here if you want to support me or help me out. I'll leave some Amazon associate links to some of the camping kit you've seen in this video down in the description below. If you purchase through those links, I will get a commission. So if you're looking at getting any of this kit anyway, and you purchase through those links, it's a great way to help support this channel and these videos. If you really want to help me out, then please consider supporting me on PayPal, becoming a channel member, a Facebook subscriber, and so on. Just like some of my recent supporters: Melissa L, Colin S, Kevin Y, Alice L, Jackie A, Sean B, Kaz G, MV, George B, Marissa, Mr. Dave C, Lima Bean, 1234, Art V, Silk P, Terence Seymour, Amber Sanford, Dogs, and Rob. Thank you very much for all of the support, everybody. I hope you enjoy the videos I've still got to come. And until the next time, my friends, keep it interesting, keep it tarp worthy, have a fantastic day, and of course, farewell.